this, he activates his rook and also the bishop. Fabi plays the symmetrical f5, opening up his bishop as well and activating his rook and the queen. c3 played by Magnus, putting pressure on the f5 pawn. Maybe c6 is a natural move. Fabi has to... Oh, he goes for asymmetry right from move 2. He plays a5 and we spoke about the rook backing the pawn. Now, Magnus brings the knight out. He attacks the pawn on f5 with his bishop and knight. Fabi defends it with g6. Somehow you feel like the g6 square is meant for the knight. e4, pawn takes pawn. And already Magnus seems to have gotten a very interesting position where he has a pawn on f4 and he's going to play pawn to d4, creating a Maroczy bind like structure. He brings his knight to f7. The knight could actually go to d6 later on. He goes knight to e3. And the plan is to maybe push pawn to d4 here. Fabi goes a4. He's creating his own play. He's like, I don't care about my pieces just yet. They'll find their homes. For now, I have to create play for my a pawn. He pushes it down the board. Bishop c2. Attacking the pawn on a4. And knight comes out to h6. Now the knight, where is it heading? f5, I believe. To trade itself off. And Magnus is like, sorry Fabi, I'm gaining space. I'm making your knight look a bit funny there on the h6 square. Already 2 moves you've spent out of first 8 with the knight. And Magnus looks up at the screen to see how the other games are going. There's only one more going at this point between Vincent Keimer and Nodirbek Abdusattorov. d5 played by Fabi, hitting the knight here. Now where do you go with the knight? He goes to c5. He's looking at the e6, d7 and b7 squares. Also the a4 pawn is a little bit soft, but the queen and rook defend it. So b6 played, but we can go knight d3, knight d5. It's possible to just move the knight back. Yes, knight to d3. The knight could settle down on the e5 square. So c6 played. And now pawn to f5. I think Magnus wanted to just clarify the situation here. And it's the third time that the knight moves. He goes knight f7. Maybe he could have taken the pawn here. But Magnus would have taken gf5. Knight f7, knight jumps to f4. Now looking at the e6 square, also threatening takes, knight takes pawn. And remember, the queen can pop out at any time, putting pressure here. Knight jumps to e5. This is the fourth move with the knight. Now can we kick the knight away is the question. I think we can. Why not? Pawn to d4. And Magnus pushes it forward. Pawn to d4. Knight goes back to d7. And we go long castles. With this long castle, Magnus puts his king to safety, but more importantly, coordinates all his pieces. While look at black pieces, they're a complete mess. But Fabi needs to somehow get his act together. He needs to win this game in order to force the playoffs or the tie breaks, the Armageddon. Bishop f7, he wants maybe to come out here. a3 played by Magnus, just making sure that black never gets in the move a3. And now rook to g8, getting the open file slowly and steadily. Black's position is improving bit by bit. 3 minutes for Fabi, 5 minutes for Magnus Carlsen here. He goes knight back to d3. He's looking at the e5 square in the center. And maybe Fabi can bring his bishop now to attack the rook. He does it. Bishop h5. The rook comes up. And knight f7. Slowly black piece is unraveling. Maybe Magnus can play c4 to open up the position. But he first goes knight b4. Not a great move. And now knight f6. He does it. Knight is jumping into e4. c4 played, now finally opening up the position, because look, the knight is looking at these squares, the knight is also looking at d5, bishop comes to d6. If you take here, I have bishop b4 followed by taking back. Amazing chess by Fabi. Magnus goes back, he's shaking his head there, he's not happy, the pressure is mounting. The pressure is mounting. Knight e4. He comes in, he attacks the rook, but now the rook can swing over and trade itself off. Maybe the better move was knight g5, trying to get in that knight. But look at the time on the clock. Fabi has 2 minutes. Magnus has 1 minute 44 seconds. Even the great Magnus, who has won 20 world championships, can get under pressure. When the result is on the line, he goes rook g2. He's offering a trade of rooks. Should we take it? Should we not take it? For Fabi, it's a matter of taking this decision. He takes almost a minute and plays knight to g5. And now a good move for Magnus is knight e5 here. And you can see Magnus feeling the pressure. He's feeling the heat here. It takes on d5. This is not a good move. Knight f3. Suddenly the queen is attacked. Well, you want to trade the rooks perhaps first. And now Magnus has 30 seconds, Fabi 1 minute 21 seconds. This is the best chance that Fabi can get to equalize the score after what happened in game 3. This is great play by Fabi. He takes back with the queen. And now Magnus must take rook takes f3 if he wants to keep the balance, because queen e2 is a bad move. There is knight d2, which is an insane move, attacking the queen and picking up here. And also the queen would take the bishop. Oh, he plays it. Fabi can win it. Knight fd2 is the winning move. Queen here, pick up the rook, pick up the bishop. Can Fabi find it? No, he misses it. He goes queen g5 and Magnus immediately corrects his mistake. He finds queen g2. And this is the move that Magnus needed to now get his title, it seems. Queen g2 just completely brings everything together. Wow, whoa, what a game this is turning out to be. Is there still some hope for Fabiano Caruana here? Is the big question. Because he doesn't want to trade queens, but how does he avoid it? If he doesn't trade it, he's in trouble. He takes, knight takes. And now knight to d2, a good move. Attacking the rook. The rook needs to move to f2. That's again the only move there. He plays it. And now knight e4 is a draw. Knight e4, rook f1, knight d2, go back and forth, but oh, he takes on g1, but king d2, a good move there by Magnus. And now, all of a sudden, things are no longer working out for Fabi. The main thing is his rook is still on a8, it's not coming into the game. He takes back with the pawn, but now just knight e3. Bringing everything together, d5 is weak. And you can see Magnus. That's the look of a man who knows that his world championship title is close here. And Magnus thinking, he's taking his time. He goes knight f4. That's a nice move. He attacks the bishop. Takes. We have trades. Bishop comes back. Fabi is hoping that the bishop pair will help him here, but king e3 defending the knight. Now with the idea of rook g1, rook g7. If the king was already on c7 and you could get rook g8, it would have been a great thing. But not happening. b5 played to defend a4, rook g1. The rook is entering in. King d7. And now Magnus moves into the 7th rank with his rook. The bishop is attacked and so is the pawn. Bishop comes back to g8 and Magnus is winning in many different ways. Maybe just h4, h5, h6. Push the h-pawn, but for now, all that is on Magnus's mind is how to get that half point. He doesn't want that win here. That's not going to help him. Just a draw. Rook f8. If you take the pawn, maybe there's bishop f4 with a check. Need to be careful. Here. Knight h5 maybe can do the trick. Magnus has 40 seconds here, 17 seconds for Caruana. Maybe a check could also be a nice move. Check, king c6, bishop fe7. He gives a check and Fabi plays king e8, a mistake. So everything is now kind of locked in. Nothing's moving. If you take here, maybe I can even go bishop d7 check. He takes on h7. This is maybe not the best move in the position, but for the tournament situation, it works just fine. Because he's trying to trade off the bishops. More pieces come off, the better are Magnus's chances to hold. And also remember, the d5 square is now hanging because the bishop was the one that was protecting the pawn. Fabi chops. Rook takes here. Rook takes f6 and now takes the pawn on d5. Magnus is a pawn up. Pawn up here. Well, this is the best position. I mean, one of the best positions that Fabi has had in the game. But, it's not enough. And look at Magnus there. He's so tired. It's like he feels like the job is done. But sometimes you have to be still alert. Rook g6. You can't afford to rest. Fabi wants to come in with rook g2. So he goes knight to c3, attacking b5. Rook g2, attacking h2 and b2. He takes the pawn. And he takes on h2. And now knight c3. Boom takes. And knight a4. He comes with a check, king e4. Rook takes a3 and it is now equal. He takes the bishop. Rook takes a4. A draw is agreed. Magnus Carlsen is the world chess champion of freestyle chess. The first ever world champion. Look at him. He's exhausted. He's happy. Fabi, well, spare a thought for him. The guy is so good. Hasn't won a single world title, but he always gives his best. What a great duo. And what a match we just witnessed.